Perception is reality, as the saying goes. And I feel like this story and this concept is missing. It has a lack of perspective in understanding the problem. This story says women are struggling to find men who make as much money as they do. And there's a couple problems with the premise. The first, I love how they take a problem that affects men and turn it into a women's issue. Women can't get good dates when the reality is men aren't getting jobs. They're staying at home. They're not going to school. They're all around failing. They lack ambition. Why is that? That's a question we should be asking. Now, I should say this. I'm not going to act like no one is talking about the problem. Of course they are. It's why Jordan Peterson becomes so popular. So I don't, on the surface, have a problem with the New York Post, which they're fairly conservative. I don't have a problem with them framing this problem this way or approaching it from the perspective of women who can't get a good date. But here's the real issue. Women aren't struggling to find men who make as much money as they do. Technically, they are. But you can just look at it a different way. Women are entertaining bad dates. Like, the idea is, listen, there are men who exist who make money, who make a good amount of money, and who are available. The problem is that some of the women, some of the guys that these women dated were just bad. Okay? Like, I don't understand. Are they saying that the dating pool is getting smaller? Are they saying they don't want to date men who are broke? What's the real problem here? If you go on a date with a guy and you don't like him for whatever reason, be it because he doesn't have a job, doesn't go to school, lacks ambition, well, then you don't date him. Guess what? People go on bad dates. Now, I get the greater context is that the negative supply is increasing. Like, the guys are not economically attractive. That's what the previous article said when I read about this. So this story from the New York Post actually talks to some women and asks them about, guys who are not, I guess, worthy or something. Like they're not ambitious, they're failures, whatever. Here's what I want to do. Let's read through the story. And I also have the actual study that they based on from earlier this month that I want to talk about. But let's read this from the New York Post. Women are struggling to find men who make as much money as they do. The Post reports, a good man is hard to find, especially in this economy. The country is facing a crisis of broke dudes, according to new research from Cornell University, and it's left successful ladies single and disgruntled. Here's the point I was trying to make earlier. Back when you had a traditional culture based on women being in the home and men being in the workplace, women could just choose a guy who had a job or didn't. A woman never had to worry about a man making more or less money. It didn't exist. This isn't a bad problem. It's just an issue that exists when you get women who have jobs. Case in point. Take this woman who they depict standing on a pile of gold coins and remove all of her gold coins and put her in a homemaker role. And all of these guys are on par with her or above. Society changed. I'm not saying we should go back. I'm saying society changed. And now we have an issue where women are experiencing the fact that men exist who don't make money. That's just the way things are. That's always been the case. If women weren't making money, this problem wouldn't exist. So it's not so much that we should focus on women struggling to do this. It's just, I would say to women, well, welcome to the dating pool. That's like, what do you think is supposed to be happening? I don't know if this is normal. Granted, we do have a crisis of broke dudes, for sure. Let's read them. In the study, published in the Journal of Marriage and Family, Cornell sociologists explored America's declining marriage rate. They discovered a lack of financially eligible bachelors. Well, look, I want to say this from the get-go. My issue is inverted. There is a lack of familially attractive. Familially attractive. What I'm trying to say is, economically, I'm not interested in a spouse or significant other who wants to be the CEO of a company. I have no problem with women being CEOs of companies. In fact, I'm excited to see more. However, if I'm going to choose a significant other or a spouse, I want someone who's going to take care of the social aspect of our cohabitation, partnership, and child rearing. I don't need someone who's going to be at a board meeting, okay? I've got a business to run. I got several to run. I have work to do. So that means a partnership would involve someone who could fill in the gap on the other side. The problem I'm having as an economically attractive male, I suppose, someone with a job and a career and success, is that I can't find women who want to be in families. And I mean that. Look, you're going to find a lot of dudes who are struggling in the economy. That's bad. We got to figure out that problem. But apparently it's not a problem that women don't want to be in families. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of women want to have it all. That's what they say. They say, have it all, right? That's the joke. 30 Rock did a great bit about Tina Fey, Liz Lemon wanting to have it all. Go for it. I got no problem. The problem is I'm not looking for half. I'm looking for all. There was a saying, I remember when I was little, or I shouldn't say little, but when I was a young man, there was this, I was reading this quote, I can't remember who it's from. They said, if you don't have the time to commit to busting your ass, then neither do I. The point was, it was a business that said, I'm not going to accept anybody who divides their attention. I need something, and that's what I'm looking for. If women need a man who's successful, then go for it. But here's the thing. Take a look at these women. All right. So this woman, they highlight. Let's read a quote. Single New Yorker, Gina Thibodeau, has some theories about her own about the fella problem. I find generally that dudes these days just do less across the board. Says the nurse practitioner. Their parents have coddled them and taken care of them, and they just don't go out there and make more money. The 38-year-old Upper East Sider stresses that she's not looking for anything outrageous. Safety and security as far as finances go. But she's still coming up empty on dates. Yes, I'll tell you why you're coming up empty on dates. Let's invert the perspective. You will find a lot of guys who are struggling who will like to go on a date with you. You provide security, you have a job. Then you can look at someone like me, and I can only speak from my perspective. I'm someone with economic security, and I'm looking for a mother and a wife, not a nurse practitioner. I respect the work you do. I appreciate your success. Congratulations. And I'm proud to see many people are fulfilling their dreams. I don't need a wife who has a job. I need a wife who's going to be at home and help take care of the social aspects of our lives. I'm not saying just be a mom, just be in the house. No, I'm saying like literally I work all day and then afterwards I'm sitting there like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to play video games or something. It would be great if there was someone who could take care of the kids, who could raise the family and say, here's the thing I want to do in the social aspect. There are some people who want a traditional wife, be at home, clean the house, whatever. That's fine. That's not necessarily what I'm saying. I'm saying I need something specific. It is not, no disrespect. Gina's she looks very successful and attractive. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm saying what your life has to offer is not attractive to me. I think she looks great, everything. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to her life choices. More power to her. Congratulations. It's not a personal dig. The point is, the problem I face as this economically attractive male, as they try to describe it, is where are the women who want to be at home and raise a family? That's the struggle I'm facing. Can we write a story about that? No, because that's not socially acceptable. For a man to say, I don't want my wife to have a job, I'll take care of the family, it's relatively socially unacceptable. There's an episode of Family Guy. They point this out. And this is an episode from, 15 years ago, where Lois Griffin, the wife in Family Guy, if you're not familiar, goes to some event. I can't remember where she was, but she meets a career woman. And the subject matter of their conversation was that the feminist career woman looked down on Lois for being a housewife. That's normal, okay? That's my experience. I have seen profiles on OkCupid from some women saying they wish they could be moms, but society finds it, at this point, feminism has won out. It is unacceptable to not have it all, to not have a career, to not support yourself. So now we're in a situation where women are upset because the only guys they apparently find are economically unattractive. They don't want to date them. But here's the thing. The simple solution to the problem. Actually, let's read a little bit more. They have more quotes. They say, she says it's because the men she goes out with don't feel the innate push to succeed that she does. Okay. And therein lies the issue. I do not want a wife whose desire to push is towards a CEO or board membership or $1 million. I'm looking for someone who wants to be a good mother and create human beings. That's a noble and important role in society. I absolutely respect, the goal, like the successes of past feminism and getting women the ability to be CEOs. And I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done. That's great. You do you, I do me. That's what true liberalism is, not this perverted word liberal that now means like left. I'm talking about classical liberal in the truest sense. Live and let live. All about it. Now, the dating pool for me, it's unfortunately every, 99% of women. For one, I gotta say this. Wow, are women communist on OkCupid? No, seriously. OkCupid, it's like 90% of the women in most areas, like communism, good or bad, they put good. And I'm like, what? No, it isn't. That's so weird. Anyway, I digress. The point is, almost every woman is expected to get a job and have a career. So I'm gonna give you a more specific example, and we'll keep reading into this. I dated a woman once, and she was very successful and wealthy, wealthy-ish. I don't want to say like she wasn't like top 1%, but like, upper class, upper middle class. And the problem was she traveled all the time, and so did I. And we never saw each other. And I said, what's the point of a relationship if we're both doing our own thing? And even if we want to, we can't really be together. I think, this was like 8 years ago, or like, no, this was like 6 or 7 years ago. And I realized that if I'm really going to have a relationship, it's got to be with someone who wants to fill that gap. So I work all day, every day, no days off. I barely get time in for recreational activities. It's always some kind of mission or plan. It's who I am. It's my passion. I need someone who has the time to fill the other role. Where are they? Let's read a little bit more. I think for years, they've always just taken their role in society for granted. And I think that they're just getting lazy culturally. Morgan Jordan, a staff administrator at a South Carolina college, says she's also struggling to find a partner on her level. I don't consider myself all that successful. I just make a living wage and I'm comfortable, says the 32-year-old who lives in upstate South Carolina and recently paid off her student loans. And I'm going to hit another point right here. They said it right there. 32 years old. I'm 33. Okay, I have no great expectations about getting, a ridiculously young Playboy bunny type girlfriend, and I'm not interested in it. But I got to admit, when you look at, where she is, where I'm at, we're both around the same age, and, well, guess what? We both made different choices. Well, actually, no. I'm going to walk back a second. Listen. I typically, it's a fact, actually. Data shows this. Men are attracted to much younger women for obvious reasons. Now, I'm not the kind of person who's going to go after a 20-year-old for a significant other. To me, it's absurd, and I really don't want to be around somebody who lacks that kind of mental development, into adulthood. Like 20 years old, too young. But yeah, a lot of the women I end up talking to are, 27, 28 years old, a bit younger than I am. And that's normal. I mean, culturally, that's normal. I think there's a big problem right now with a change in culture and what humans might innately want or just be driven to do. There's no society, they'll argue it's society that makes men want 20-year-old women. I'm going to have to disagree and think guys just find, perky young women attractive. And older, chiseled guys are attractive for a reason. I'm not an evolutionary psychologist, but all this stuff exists. So let me say this while trying to avoid being disrespectful, but I think we need to be honest. I, as a 33-year-old man, am not interested in a 32-year-old woman who has a career and is comfortable. It's not who I'm talking to and who I'm interested in. I have no problem. The potential is there, but I got to be honest. I do look at younger women, not super younger, but also like 28, 5 years younger than me, 28, 29. 32 is what I see with a 32-year-old woman is somebody who dedicated to their career and not to family. And that's a societal issue, I suppose. There are scientific, like biological issues that exist there, but I'll admit fully, the feminists can be mad at me for saying this. Fine, whatever. You're not going to change my preference, which is for slightly younger women. It is the way it is, and it is for most guys. As you get older, the age gap becomes more palatable, but also more acceptable. Again, I got a limit, I try not to go super young. 5 years is kind of as far as I've gone in terms of dating. But here's the thing. A woman who's 32 and single, no disrespect, but that's not what I am looking for in a relationship. So, this only really comes down from my perspective as this eligible bachelor who's successful and all that. And I'm trying to just basically flip this narrative. They present this story as though these women are struggling, but in reality, a choice they made has presented them with only economically unattractive males. Okay, you see the point I'm making? Like, I exist. Men like me exist, successful men and many who are married. But in this story, the real issue that they're highlighting is not that there is a crisis with men, but the real issue is that what they're not focusing on is women who are now in their 30s who dedicated their lives to having a career, now wondering where all the good dudes are at. I mean, you're playing right into this manosphere trope about men wanting young wives, women who want to, be a homemaker. I guess I don't want to beat the dead horse, but let's read a little bit more. This 32-year-old woman says, you can tell that some men really want to be the more traditional breadwinner, says Jordan. Spot on. Absolutely. It's not about me wanting to prove myself. That they try and push this narrative that men are insecure about making less money than their wives. Not at all. The bigger issue is how much time do you spend at work to make that much money? Okay? That's the issue. Like I said, I was in a relationship with a woman and she was, high level, making great money, and we never saw each other. It's like, okay, look, if I'm already going to be working, it's already hard enough for you to see me because working is a thing. I'm looking for a wife, not a CEO. And that's fine if you're a CEO. Don't take rejection personally. If you're trying out for the role of Batman and they don't choose you, well, it's because not everybody can be Batman. And if you want to be the CEO, congratulations, much respect. But I'm not looking for a CEO. I'm looking for a woman who wants to help me raise a family. Okay? So yes, it is about being a traditional breadwinner in a sense, not to prove my worth, it has nothing to do with me being insecure about the one making more money. It has to do with me being passionate about what I'm doing and not wanting to give it up. I can say the same for them, and I respect that. But in the end, it means we are not compatible. Boston single Jake Rivas gets where they're coming from. My prospective partner's income is something I consider, says the 28-year-old who works as a staff caregiver at a group home. Being on the lower end myself only serves to feed insecurity. Well, that's you, Jake. It's not me. And I think there's a lot of successful guys who are looking at this in the same way that I am. Graduate student Isaac Suarez says he's not turned off by a woman who means business, but he has found that his relationships tend to last longer when he makes a similar amount as his partner. I've dated women with money, and full-time professional women tend to be busier, and it's more difficult to find time to spend together. There it is. Nails it. Okay, nails it. Good job, post. Thibodeau says she knows it's not necessarily a guy's fault if he's struggling financially still. Given the circumstances, she's had to devise a plan B for her future. If Mr. Right doesn't come along soon, she may just shack up with some lady friends at her professional level. Maybe in a few years we'll move in together. They're successful and I like them. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I think guys, they want traditional relationships not because they're anti-feminist, not because they're misogynist. It's because guys are passionate and driven. Why is it that guys take risks? Why is it that guys work their hands to the bone? Not all guys. We're highlighting some lazy dudes. They exist, and some less fortunate guys. But why is it that guys are so driven to do these things? Why are women more likely ending up in social jobs that interact with people like teaching, and men are doing technical jobs? There's reasons for this. So there's the big challenge. I think I've beaten the horse to death. I'll leave it there. You get my point, okay? I'm not interested in a 32-year-old, what was her job? They don't mention. But I'm not interested in a career professional, okay? And I understand there's a feminist, it's considered taboo in society for a man to ask a woman to put her career on hold to raise a family. Don't put your career on hold. By all means, you do that. But I'm not interested, okay? Much respect to you and what you're doing. Find me someone who, is, don't necessarily want to say graduated college, but has some life experience, understands a bit of the world, and wants to be in a family, and I'm interested. Guess what? They don't exist. They do exist. I know they exist, okay? But seriously, you go on these dating sites, and it's all of the same thing. Women who don't want to be raising a family. So now there's the pitfall, okay, of two overt tropes that are very dangerous for a single guy who's got a good career. And it's the woman who just wants to be have a good career as well and doesn't want to be there for the family, which, again, more power to her. Got to be very careful, but is not compatible with that guy. Then you have the opportunist gold digger types. And so it's like, how do you find a good significant other? For men and women alike, I don't know what to tell you. There is a compatibility issue. I do not speak for all successful men. I'm sure there are left-wing feminist men who are completely on board with a woman who works just as much, and they'll figure it out. More power to you. But I assure you there are a lot of guys who are successful, educated, have careers, whatever you want to say, who are economically attractive, who are not attracted to you based on your life choices. How do we solve that problem? I don't know. Maybe our society will evolve and we'll get through it, and that's what'll happen. I have no idea. It's a long video. I have no idea why. Stick around. Next segment will be at 4 p.m. youtube.com/Timcast. It is a different channel. I will see you all there.